Previously in designer notes, discontinuation of the Hulk. And lastly, some reports are already circulating that the Hulk will finally be LV, not LN. Gosh. Designer notes, subject 31. What subject would you like us to discuss next? Subscribe and comment to let us know. It's here. Rolex finally unveiled its watches for 2020. The highlight, like what we've been expecting, is the new Submariner. However, there are a few surprises that we didn't see coming. Okay, some viewers were hoping for them, and hopefully it did satisfy them in some way. So here's the official Rolex releases of 2020. The Submariner is updated subtly, but it does make a big difference once you compare them from the previous generation. Here they are side by side. The changes may not be noticeable, but it's there, and it's actually making sense. The lugs are narrower. This gives a more vintage feel to the new subs compared to the chunkier lugs of the maxi case. Speaking of the maxi case, all of the 40mm cases will be officially discontinued and replaced by the new 41mm case. This means that the Hulk will be discontinued as what we've been speculating on. However, part of the casualties of these discontinuations is the 116619LB or the white gold Smurf. The speculation was that both the Smurf and the blue Kermit will coexist, but it's not to be, it seems. The cases may be larger on paper, but they do appear slimmer than the previous generation. The crown guards are now slimmer and less broad on the side. And while viewing on the side, you can also notice a more pronounced curve towards the lugs. The bracelet is also wider by a millimeter compared to the previous version. There is also a noticeable change on the bezel gradations. We can notice that the markers are slimmed down from the previous generation. The dial is somewhat bigger and the hour markers are slightly lengthened. Notice too on the 6 o'clock that the Rolex crown is applied in between the Swiss made, which is not present on the previous models. The new subs uses chromolite that shine blue and are evenly illuminated instead of having an intense brightness upon activation. Also, like what was expected, the new Submariners will be using the new calibers 3230 for the no date and 3235 for the date Submariners. What was expected but did not happen was the replacement for the Smurf. Many were hoping to get a blue dial and blue bezel steel sub, but instead we did get the black dialed blue bezel Submariner, but not in steel, but rather still in white gold. There is also a green bezel version of these Submariners, and many are dubbing it the new Kermit. So really, the only no date stays true to the original, which comes in pure black, and the rest of the variations have the date complications. There are also other surprises, such as the new Sky Dwellers that now come in an Oyster Flex strap. This blurs the line a little bit from the Yachtmaster, which didn't have an update this time around. These new Sky Dwellers can now be worn on less formal occasions. There are also some new Oyster Perpetuals at 41 and 36mm cases with new colorful dials to choose from. These also sport the 3230 caliber movement, bringing them all to the same line of movements. As more specs become available, these watches will be examined at length. It's a little disappointing to some that the new Submariners did not have the all-blue theme we wanted on the Oyster Steel, nor even a new no-date sub, but it might be for the best. In my previous render, I even rendered a no-date sub with a blue bezel and blue dial. But now seeing what Rolex is doing on the no-date sub, or should I say the original sub, remained true to the original heritage of the watch, since the original Submariner did not have a date window. It's the one that carries the torch high and proud. Rolex just made many fans appreciate the original line even more by not straying too much away from its predecessor. Rolex updated the new Submariners to look slimmer, perfecting the dimensions ever so slightly. But if our current generation craves the splashes of color, the Submariner and the Oyster Perpetuals got you covered. But for the purists, the Submariner remains true to the spirit of the legendary dive watch.